Hi there guys, Sam here. Welcome back to another video. Join me once again in my Mark 7 Golf R to talk about a drive I had in the Mark 8 Golf R. Now I'll put up some clips as I'm talking so you can sort of see the car, a bit of a walk around of it, and I'd recommend staying tuned for tomorrow's video of a Q&A with the owner because I go really more into depth. This is kind of like a little bit more of a summary, but it might miss out some points, so I would recommend checking out the Q&A tomorrow. First of all, a big thank you to the owner for giving me the chance to drive this car. It was absolutely fantastic. It was the second Golf 8R I've driven, and obviously I've had a bit of experience driving the GTI Club Sport, and obviously building up this community channel has been absolutely fantastic. So it's great to have a subscriber and to work with you guys and to kind of understand the car. There was a few things that was on my mind with this car, and it was mainly a little bit around the spec. So I didn't 100% know what the owner actually had, but they had so they'd ordered their car in December. It literally arrived a couple of days ago, and then a couple of days after I got the chance to drive it. So it only had about, I think, 400 miles he'd done on it, which is obviously quite low. It was in black. It had the Aquaprovic exhaust, which was pretty special, which I think will only sound a little bit better. I might have put the sound of it before I started talking now, once it gets warmed up. It had a panoramic roof. It had quite a few options inside as well, like the park assist. It had like the heads-up display, which was really quite cool. And it had dynamic chassis control. And that was the big thing for me that stood out, because I was like, is it just a bit of a gimmick? Is it worth the money? Does it make a big difference? All this kind of stuff. And fortunately for me, I was able to do quite a bit of a back-to-back comparison to my Mark 7 Golf R. And my car is completely standard, and if you're familiar with my channel for the last 4 years, you pretty much know most of it about it. It doesn't have dynamic chassis control, but it's on 18-inch wheels. This car that I drove had 19s, and yeah, when I drove the last one back in April, the first drive that I had 19-inch wheels, performance pack, but it didn't have dynamic chassis control. And although I didn't feel the ride was uncomfortable, it was certainly quite firm on those 19-inch wheels, no doubt about it. Dynamic chassis control is brilliant. It's really good. It's like a super, I think there's 15 different settings, which is probably one too many. But what VW do quite well is you can choose between like race mode, which will basically put the suspension, the dampers into the firmest settings. You do notice it. You have comfort or eco mode, which does it in the absolute softest settings. Again, you do feel it. You feel it over the bumps. You feel it over the same piece of road. That was the big thing for me. As a passenger and as a driver, I noticed the difference. And you can have like sport mode, which I think does like an in-between. And then you can have individual, where you just personalize it yourself. So really cool, and an option I would recommend having tried it. I don't even think it's that expensive in the grand scheme of things. The panoramic roof was really nice. It worked well with the GoPro, to be fair. I just kind of wanted to show a different point of view for you guys to see. We did actually chat quite a bit during that phase, and you know, maybe just enjoyed myself a bit too much. But you know, windows open, pan roof open, you know, wind noise was there, so you can't really hear the Aquaprovic exhaust as well as I would have liked, certainly as well as we were able to hear. But I might do that. I might just share that video in a clip in the sort of like coming weeks or something like that, because we did have some interesting chats in that one as well. Yeah, really nice, really like made it all not nice, light and airy, which was really cool. The heads-up display was really interesting as well, something that I hadn't experienced in a car. Just yeah, something doesn't distract you from the road. It's really quite cool. Works quite well with the sat nav with like Android Auto and stuff, so really good integration. I had no problems with the infotainment. I did say to the owner, you're gonna have to, it takes a long time to get up to these Mark 8 Golfs to really understand them. But yeah, it was fine. Seats were just as good as I remembered it. Wheel was just as good as I remembered it. And one of the great things that I got to try was the fact that his other half, she had a Mark 8 Golf R line, and he'd actually helped spec it for her. So obviously it was quite full-on spec. And it was a, you know, it had like 19-inch Pretoria wheels. It was in like that moonstone grey, a car that I've driven the GTI Club Sport in. And you know, he took me to show that. He took me for a drive in that as well, and I was amazed how similar it was exactly the same inside, other than the few touches with the colours and a few bits of Alcantara on the side. Yeah, it was exactly the same inside. Same wheels, same seats, just different colours. You know, automatic gearbox still worked, slightly smaller paddles. and a great place to be. It even had pan roof and dynamic chassis control as well, so it had all those sort of advantages. 150 horsepower, so it obviously wasn't as quick or as loud, but it was a great car. On the outside, that was the big thing that took me away, and we were kind of discussing this as well, and discuss it more in the Q&A, which you can check out tomorrow, was the different array of options in colours. I think that's really, really a big thing, and to be able to option the R-Line in those nice colours was quite cool. Also, the gloss black sort of around the sides, it's something which I did notice a little bit on the GTI Club Sports. It's not gloss black, it's like grey, a little bit more scratchy plastic, which I found really surprising, because obviously you'd think the GTI would be that step up. So a little bit weird. And I will probably have to do a different video where I just sort of compare the R-Line to the R, because I was very much like, what's the point of getting an R-Line? But ultimately, even a fully spec'd one like they did was, I believe, was just under £30,000. When you consider the Golf 8R in the spec that the owner had, retail, you're looking between 45 and almost £50,000. So big savings there. I really enjoyed the car. I really enjoyed the drive. It's just as fun as I kind of remembered it. It's quick enough as well. That's the thing. It's comfortable. It works so well as a daily. You know, it felt spacious inside as well. And obviously this is the first time I've driven it with a passenger, and we had 2 other people in the car as well. So it was really, really nice. A great day for it as well. I certainly enjoyed it. I like the light coming in from the panoramic roof. The one thing I will say about that option is, when I drove a previous Gen A45S, the 2016 model and below, I was sort of like, get a pan roof, because it's quite cramped and dark in that car. Get a pan roof. In the Golf, it's actually pretty airy without. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's an essential thing to go for. But if you can go for it, go for it. You know, it looks great. I can't think of too many other options that they kind of chose. But it was a great car, and, you know, stay tuned for the Q&A tomorrow. But for me, I think if you're looking to get one, it is worth the wait, even if you do have to wait quite a few months. The exhaust wise, although it sounded good, I mean, we went out for a drive in this, and I got the impression that he was quite impressed with the noise that it actually made from the exhaust, because it's more real noise. And obviously this is a 2017 car, it's before it got all plugged up with OPFs. So don't think that you're getting an Akrapovic exhaust and it's going to be like crazy. It's really good. It had a really nice tone to it. It's not just noise, it's not just bangs. I would say the Club Sport made a lot more bangs and was a lot more exciting. And I mean, if you subscribe to my channel, you're getting a Club Sport 45. I'd love to try that car with the Akrapovic exhaust, because that must be insane. Drop me a message on Instagram if you'd like to. But certainly once the exhaust gets warmed up, the car gets warmed up, it all gets bedded in, I think it would sound better. But there were moments where, if you time it right, you lift off the throttle at the right time, it's brilliant. It put such a smile on my face. The owner loved it. The spec was pretty insane. I get it. Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Similar to like anything over 3.
3, yeah. 3,000 revs and 4, yeah, that's what I've heard a lot.
They got it at a good time. Obviously, they ordered it in December, before all the issues that we kind of seeing with like production supply and, you know, Golf R's going over list and other cars going over list. I don't really know what else to say to kind of summarize it up. I think I spoke a lot in the Q&A, and which I want you lot to check out. But I hope you kind of enjoyed the clips as I've kind of been talking. And I hope it gives you some sort of like this little video anyway, gives you an impression of it is a really, really great car. It's a great road car. Having driven the Club Sport as well, I think they're both absolutely fantastic. I think for the road, I think the Golf R just has it. I mean, we had a sunny day, but you can see it's overcast today. It's going to rain this week. It's going to be thunderstorms. And that's where a Golf R is just like, oh, it's just so awesome. Such a nice car, such a pleasant place to be. And we were kind of talking a little bit about the price as well. When you consider all of the development in terms of like what they kind of brought in the Golf R, I know there's cost cutting in certain areas, and I'm not going to go into all of it, like bits in the bonnet strut, and there's no battery cover, and there's no like underfloor storage like you get in mine, and there's no little cubby holder here, and there's no sunglasses holder as well. So there's a few little bits. But they have worked hard on the way the car drives, actually, and it certainly is a little bit of a better improvement. But the one thing that I definitely clarified for myself is I prefer the steering feel of this Mark 7. I think in whatever setting you choose, whether it's race, where it's a little bit firmer, or individual, or eco, you just get a bit better feel of where the wheel's going. Whereas I found with the Mark 8 Golf R, it went where you wanted it to go, but it was very much like turning it a little bit of your little finger and you, yeah, very electric rack. Lost a little bit of connection on that side, just the way things are. Loved the, actually the dash kind of took me away with sort of like the modern graphics. It was really, really nice. And the noise was nice as well. So massive thumbs up. It was a fantastic experience. I hope this little video has helped you out. Stay tuned for the Q&A tomorrow, where we go into a lot more depth. It's about a 40-45 minute video. So I think if you're invested in getting a Golf R and you own one, or you're thinking of getting one, or you just want to hear a little bit more about it, I would recommend subscribing and checking it out. If you're spending sort of £40,000-45,000 on a car, I'd say spending 40 to 45 minutes listening to a video, you can listen to it just on your headphones. You don't even have to watch it on YouTube kind of thing. It's just like an audio thing, really. We're just chatting about it. It's probably worth it. It might make you decide to maybe add a few options or take stuff away, or maybe even choose a different car. But stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for the owner. Like, share, subscribe. That really does help the channel. Liking the video helps a lot, because these videos, obviously, I don't really make any money off YouTube. So it's like the likes really do help, and it just promotes it out there, and hopefully continues to build this community, which I'm really enjoying. And it looks like people are enjoying it too. But thank you so much for watching. Fantastic drive. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video, as I've mentioned. Cheers, guys.